Hello everyone, today I'm looking at Ace Combat Zero, the Belkan War. So this is a really interesting game. This was actually my first introduction to the Ace Combat series, and so because of that, it was, I guess, probably different from other people's experiences perhaps, but this is the game that a lot of people talk about, and after playing this, I've gone back and I've tried to acquire 4 and 5. But this game kind of is loosely based off the real world. The Balkan War being obviously the Balkan War. You don't want to draw too many similarities, but there are just some very silly, things where, like, there's the fictional country of Sapin, which is just Spain. Like it's just like there's certain places where, like, okay, I could see that they changed the wording enough, but they literally did an anagram. They jumbled the words, and it was very kind of lazy and funny. But regardless of all that, how is Ace Combat Zero? It is amazing. It is one of my favorite jet fighting simulators out there. Essentially, you have a total array of at least 20 to 30 different aircraft that you can use in your single player missions, and as you progress through the game, you can unlock more and more different fighter jets. You can start off with, a basic, single thruster jet, and eventually you can upgrade to a double engine fighter. The most advanced fighter jet you can get is the Raptor, F-22 Raptor, I believe, and it has these multi-shifting, wings and gearing, essentially. It's just really, really interesting how mobile, maneuverable it is. And it's really interesting that you kind of begin to understand why the importance of the maneuverability and the speed of a craft is so important, because once an enemy is in range, you're able to hit them before they can hit you. And if you're in range and they have targeting on you, the faster you can get out of range, retreat, or move away, and then rally back to them is really the key to success. So I can imagine during the Cold War, having the best jet technology and air superiority would almost guarantee like a completely very one-sided battle. A lot of the missions, you basically are dispatched and have to take out either a certain target or a number of targets. These could be slow-moving bombers, they could be one giant aircraft you have to take out, or a tower essentially on the ground that you need to take out its ground defenses and then go in for the kill once its anti-air defenses have been taken down. And the final mission of this game is also basically low flying through a canyon and basically taking out this launch area and launch pad. It's funny because that a few years later, that is the exact plot of the movie Top Gun Maverick, where it's the same thing. They have to fly very low through this canyon and take out this target and then get out of there. Most jets are essentially equipped with essentially almost unlimited amount of missiles. You get like 50 of them, so it's hard to really run out throughout the whole entire operation, and a machine gun. And so basically, you will fly in a straight line. Once the enemy is in range, you can basically lock onto them from a distance, and you can fire missiles. You can fire machine guns, but they will be kind of useless in a way, if you're out of range. And so once the voice will actually come on that once you are in machine gun range, it'll say that you are in machine gun range and allow you to fire. So usually if you're in dogfights, it's very useful to use your machine gun to try and disable your opponent, but otherwise your missiles are kind of a go-to combat maneuver, and you can usually shoot 2 of them at a time, and most jets will go down in 2 or 3 hits. Of course, you're able to boost, slow down, maneuver your plane. After every mission, you'll get a possibility to watch a replay of the entire thing. Also, if you get shot down, you can watch a short replay just before you were taken out, and lots of cool things like that. What really, I think, makes Ace Combat stand out from being just another, jet fighting simulator is the story and the characters. You are paired with a character called Solo Wing Pixie, And it's really funny that a lot of the dialogue is obviously while you're in the air, and just the chatter over the microphone or the the radio comms. But Pixie is a very sort of philosophical character, talking about what is the meaning of war, what is the meaning of borders, what is the meaning of what we do, and is it better to be a mercenary or part of a nation, and what makes a nation and what makes a mercenary? Kind of very Metal Gear Solid-esque kind of questions and things that are on the top of his mind. However, you do get to see all these characters in fully like FMV real life footage and cutscenes, and they have these like cheesy filters over them, and it's so stupid, but I love it so much. And the thing is, Pixie always calls you buddy, and I don't know why that just works, but it really sticks to you, and you really just through over the course of these missions, you really grow to be close to Pixie as your wingman. And of course, every squadron travels with a different wingman, and so he's your main kind of character. And he really begins to grow on you throughout the campaign. And it's all the more tragic that, in the half point in the campaign, he essentially goes off on his own and betrays you, and ends up becoming one of the major antagonists you actually face later in the game, because you kind of just follow your orders while he kind of goes freelance and starts fighting for a cause and a reason. As you play throughout Ace Combat, it grades you on your performance and the type of gameplay style you adopt. They call it Ace Combat because there are 3 kinds of aces. I think they're a knight, a mercenary, and a warlord or something. And essentially just ranks you on how aggressive you are in your combat. If you are a knight, then basically you will not target civilian buildings, and once an enemy is disabled with machine gun fire, you won't blow it out of the sky, and you're kind of very objective oriented. If you're a mercenary, I think that's in between, and if you're a warlord, then you just go around just bombing absolutely everything you can and possibly in sight. There are some very cool upgrades that you can get only with certain jets. Obviously, every jet is going to usually have something like a missile system, but some jets come with an optional like surface, rather air-to-surface, like cluster bomb and things like that. And there's one jet in particular that can drop almost like a nuke kind of thing, and that is a lot of fun to use because it makes this massive, insane explosion that's just out of control. And again, there's a lot of times when, the jets in question, even though you're a mercenary, you're like questioning, is this ethical to bomb a bunch of civilian places? And then eventually, your old comrades show up and try to stop you. One of the major aspects of this game that you have 2 different missions in is the round table, where it's this area where it's an all-out dogfight. There is no mission objective. It's basically just to take out all the enemy craft and just survive. It's an all-out battle, basically. Again, the sound effects are really good in this game. What is very iconic about this game series are the briefing screens. They have their own aesthetic of of yellow and red. The comm announcer just announcing what the objectives are, all the different kinds of objectives, and the TACCOM map, and how it displays information on the geographic, data table is all very iconic and interesting. It has a really great soundtrack. I think that's something that people actually remind them most of this game is actually the soundtrack and just how it is portrayed, and mostly specifically the final fight between you and the final boss. It just busts out these acoustic guitars and it goes fully like Spanish, classical guitar on you, and it's really intense, really cool, and very, very iconic. And again, as you get better jets, you can, have better maneuverability and different, weapon options. It's very cool. And of course, when you replay the game, and I think this is one of the few games I actually did replay immediately after beating it, because I just enjoyed the variety of all the different jets and all the different weapons that I didn't get to try and really get to use. and also the fact that you get different kinds of endings and cutscenes depending not only on the difficulty you play at, but also the style of gameplay. So if you're a mercenary, a warlord, or an ace, or whichever kind of ace you choose, I think at the end of the game you get extra cutscenes from some of the other characters, and some of the characters that you actually fight in the game or from previous games, and you get these again like real life cutscenes that are kind of funny, but have a charming ability to them. And by the end of the game, soloing Pixie kind of goes off on his own and finds his own path, and he has this like ending cutscene where he talks to you and still calls you buddy and asks if you're still alive and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a very fun game. It's very straightforward, very action focused. You can beat it very, very quickly, and it encourages a lot of replayability. And in terms of like jet, air-to-air combat games, this is like the game. I know there's some other ones like Project Wingman and something else, but in terms of a long-running successful jet dogfighter franchise that isn't just a simulation game, I can't think of any other games other than Ace Combat. Like, this is the jet game. This is it. And it's very, very good and does it very well. I was briefly playing actually Ace Combat 7 on new consoles. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to it. It just feels like one of those fun things to buy as a launch game. I didn't get very far, but they had this whole thing about AI jets taking over and technology and all that stuff. And I don't know if I might go back and play it. I do actually want to go back and start playing Ace Combat 4 and 5 after this one, and because I think it's very much in the same vein. While a lot of games, they're developed in trilogies mechanically, and then after that they kind of totally innovate and do something completely different. But so far I love this game. Its story, its music, its presentation, its gameplay, it's just really, really good, really, really fun. Anyway, with all that being said, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.